Hello and welcome back to On This Day in History. Today is April 9th and we've got quite a few things to cover as per usual. On this day in 1860, Edouard Léon Scott de Martinville recorded himself singing Au clair de la lune on his phonautograph, producing the oldest known recording of an audible human voice. And here's a little snippet of that recording. As you can tell, it was very primitive, but it still worked and made him the first person to record his own voice. On this day, in 1917, during the First World War, the Canadian Corps began the first wave of attacks at the Battle of Vimy Ridge in Vimy, France. The Battle of Vimy Ridge was part of the Battle of Arras in the Nord-Pas-de-Calais region of France during the First World War. On this day, in 1942, during World War II, Japanese forces defeated Allied troops at the Battle of Bataan. The Battle of Bataan, also known as Labanan sa Bataan in Tagalog, was fought by the United States and the Philippine Commonwealth against Japan during World War II. The battle represented the most intense phase of the Japanese invasion of the Philippines. The Bataan Death March that followed the defeat of the Allied troops was the transfer by the Imperial Japanese Army of 60 to 80,000 American and Filipino prisoners of war. Some of the prisoners were forced to march until they died. The total distance marched from Mariveles to San Fernando and from the Capas train station to Camp O'Donnell is variously reported by different sources as being between 60 and 69.6 miles. It is also reported that from 5 to 18,000 Filipinos died during the march and 500 to 650 Americans died as well. On this day in 1980, Iraqi philosopher Mohammed Bakir al-Sadr and his sister Amina were executed by the regime of Saddam Hussein. Mohammed Bakir was a well-respected Iraqi philosopher and the ideological founder of the Islamic Dawa Party, which is an Islamic political party in Iraq. And finally, last but not least, on this day in 1999, the president of Niger, Ibrahim Barre Maina Sara, was shot dead by soldiers in Niamey. Niamey is the capital and largest city of Niger. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed and found it interesting. I'm Ben, your host, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another video.